Microsoft sells its cloud services directly to customers, and it also sells them through a huge network of partners. Both of those statements are true, and here's why that matters. Today, we're talking about the Cloud Solution Provider Program, CSP for short. It's the engine behind how hundreds of thousands of businesses buy their Microsoft services. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what CSP is, how the money actually flows, and whether it matters for your company. Let's start with the simplest version. What is CSP? The core model: partners as wholesalers. CSP is Microsoft's program that lets partners resell cloud services. That means Microsoft 365, Azure, Dynamics 365, and enterprise mobility and security. Think of it like a wholesale club. Microsoft is the manufacturer. They sell their cloud services at bulk prices to partners. Those partners buy at wholesale, add their own services on top, and sell the whole package to customers. You have three players in this system. Microsoft builds the cloud services. The CSP partner buys them and manages the relationship. And the end customer just wants their email, files, and meetings to work. Here's the thing most people miss. When you buy through a CSP partner, Microsoft is not your billing contact. The partner handles billing, support, and provisioning. 20 years ago, if your email server went down, you called Microsoft or fixed it yourself. Today, you call your partner. They own the relationship. Let me give you an example. Say you run a 50-person company. You buy Microsoft 365 through a local IT partner. That partner manages your licenses, sends you one invoice every month, and provides support when someone can't log in. You never talk to Microsoft directly. You talk to your partner. What does this mean for you? If you're buying Microsoft cloud services through someone right now, you're likely already using CSP. You just didn't know it had a name. Now, not all CSP partners are the same. There are two different flavors, and the one you pick matters. Direct versus indirect reseller. So there are two paths for partners in the CSP program: direct bill and indirect reseller. They sound similar, but they're actually very different. Direct bill partners buy directly from Microsoft and handle everything themselves: billing, support, infrastructure. It's the hard path. The requirements are steep. You need at least $1 million in trailing 12-month revenue, 12 months of prior experience as an indirect reseller, a solutions partner designation, and a paid Microsoft support plan. In the entire United States, only about 30 partners are direct bill. The other path is indirect reseller, and that's the most common way to become a CSP partner. Instead of buying directly from Microsoft, you work through a distributor. Companies like Ingram Micro, Pax8, or Ripe. The distributor handles the Microsoft relationship, the billing platform, and Tier 2 support, while the reseller focuses on the customer. Picture it like a car dealership. Microsoft is the manufacturer, the distributor is the regional warehouse that stocks the parts, and the reseller is the dealership you walk into when you want to buy a car. You don't talk to the factory, you talk to the dealer, and the dealer gets their inventory from the warehouse. More than 90% of CSP partners are indirect resellers. That's the vast majority. And there's a reason for that. The indirect model has low barriers to entry, no revenue minimum, no support plan required. The distributor provides the backstop. This makes it easy for small IT shops to start reselling Microsoft services without a huge upfront investment. So what does this mean for you? If you're a small partner wanting to resell Microsoft, indirect is the path. That's how almost everyone starts. You focus on your customers and the distributor handles the rest. How partners add value. Now you know the two paths a partner can take. But here's the real question. How do these partners actually make money? And what do they bring to the table that you can't get by buying direct from Microsoft? The short answer is that partners don't just resell licenses, they bundle services on top. Think of it like buying a phone. You can buy the phone itself for a certain price, or you can buy the phone with a case, a screen protector, and a warranty. The phone is the license, everything else is the value add. Typical partner offerings include onboarding help, migration from your old system, training for your team, around-the-clock support, and security monitoring. Some partners will even manage your entire IT environment. They become your IT department. Now, here's the thing about the money. The margin on the license itself is small. We're talking about 8 to 15% depending on incentives and volume. That's not nothing, but it's not where the real profit lives. The real profit is in the managed services wrapped around that license. Let me give you a concrete example. Say a partner sells Microsoft 365 Business Premium for $22 per user per month. You can buy that same license directly from Microsoft for $22, same price. But the partner adds identity setup, device management, and a help desk for an extra $8 per user per month. Now, the customer is paying $30 total, and they get one bill, one support number, and someone who actually knows their business. The partner earns the margin on the service layer, not the software. That's the model. The license gets you in the door. The services keep you there. Now, here's where CSP gets a little tricky. The new commerce experience changed the rules. The new commerce experience, term commitments. In 2022, Microsoft launched something they call the New Commerce Experience, or NCE for short, and it completely changed how CSP subscriptions work. Before NCE, the process was straightforward. You bought monthly subscriptions, canceled whenever you wanted, and adjusted seats freely. Hire 5 people, add 5 licenses, let 2 go, Remove 2 without penalties or commitments. It was flexible, almost too flexible. After NCE, everything shifted. Now you have term commitments. You pick between a 1-month, 1-year, or 3-year term, and each choice carries a different price tag. The monthly term gives you the most flexibility since you can cancel at the end of any month, but you pay a 20% premium over the annual list price. So if the annual price is $100 per user per month, the monthly price hits $120. That's the cost of flexibility. The annual term is the standard choice. You can pay monthly with a 5% premium or pay upfront at list price. Most businesses go with the annual term paid monthly because it sits right between cost and flexibility. Then there's the triennial term, which locks in your price for 3 years and saves you about 12 to 18% compared to renewing annually. But you are locked in. No changes for 3 years. Here's the part that catches people off guard. After you place an order, you have a 7-day cancellation window, just 7 days to change your mind or adjust quantities. After that, the commitment is binding, and seat reductions are not allowed midterm. You can only add seats, never remove them. Microsoft did this for predictable revenue. They wanted to see their recurring revenue laid out months and years ahead. Partners hate it because customers change their minds. A company might plan for 100 seats in January and then need 80 by March, but under NCE, they are still paying for those 20 unused seats until the term ends. The practical impact is simple. Plan your headcount carefully before buying. If you are unsure, it is safer to overbuy slightly than to underbuy. You can always add seats, but you cannot remove them. One more thing. The old grace period, which ended in May 2026, has been replaced by something called the extended term. If your subscription expires and you do not act, it automatically moves to the extended term, billed at the monthly rate plus an additional 3% uplift. It is designed as a short-term bridge, not a long-term solution. Let it sit too long, and your costs climb fast. Why customers choose a CSP partner? So what does all this mean for a business buying Microsoft services? Let's look at it from the customer side. The biggest reason customers choose a CSP partner is consolidated billing. One invoice covers all your Microsoft services plus anything the partner adds on top. You don't have to log into Microsoft's portal, figure out which subscription is which, or reconcile multiple invoices because it all comes from one place. Your partner. Next, support is included. When you buy through a CSP partner, that partner becomes your first line of support. So you don't need a separate unified support contract from Microsoft. Your partner handles day-to-day issues, meaning if something breaks, you call them instead of Microsoft. For a small business without a dedicated IT team, that is a huge deal. Then there's flexibility. Yes, the monthly term costs a 20% premium, but for some businesses that premium is worth it. Think about a landscaping company with 80 employees in the summer and 30 in the winter. Under the old rules, they could scale down easily. Under NCE, they cannot reduce seats mid-term, but they can choose the monthly term and pay the premium for the right to adjust. For seasonal workforces, that trade-off makes sense. Beyond licenses, many partners offer value-add services. They set up security baselines to lock down your tenant, back up your data, provide training when your team moves to new tools, and help with adoption so you actually use what you are paying for. Here is a rule of thumb. If you are under 500 employees, CSP is probably the right path. If you are larger, an enterprise agreement might be cheaper. EA pricing typically comes in 20 to 35% lower per seat for organizations with 500 or more users because Microsoft negotiates volume discounts directly with large customers. But those discounts come with a catch. You are committing to a multi-year term, so you cannot walk away. One more thing to keep in mind. CSP does not include software assurance, which is Microsoft's program for on-premises upgrade rights. If you have a hybrid setup where some stuff is in the cloud and some is on your own servers, software assurance matters. In that case, an enterprise agreement might serve you better. The trade-off is simple. CSP for flexibility and support, EA for the lowest price at scale. CSP versus enterprise agreement, when to use which. So that leads to the big question. When should you go with CSP instead of an enterprise agreement? Enterprise agreements are meant for organizations with 500 or more users, especially when your headcount is predictable and you're willing to commit to a multi-year deal. You get volume discounts, software assurance, and a direct relationship with Microsoft. But you also get complexity, true-up cycles, enrollment periods, and plenty of fine print. CSP is built for a different kind of customer. Small and medium businesses spending under $1 million a year on Microsoft services, companies with fluctuating headcount, or organizations that want a partner to lead the way instead of figuring it out themselves. Here's something that makes this decision easier. Microsoft has been shutting down older licensing programs. The Microsoft Products and Services Agreement, or MPSA, closed to new business in mid-2025, and new enterprise agreement enrollment stopped in October 2024. You can still renew an existing EA, but you can't start a new one. For most businesses, the choice is already made. CSP under the new commerce experience is the default. Now, I want to be clear about something. CSP is not a discount program. It's a service delivery program. The discount doesn't come from Microsoft. It comes from the partner service. A good partner saves you money by reducing your IT headache, not by selling you a cheaper license. Think of it like buying a car. You can buy direct from the factory and save a few $1,000s, but the dealership offers test drives, helps with financing, and fixes it when something breaks. You're paying for convenience and support, not just the metal and rubber. What this means for you is pretty straightforward. Under 300 seats, CSP is almost certainly your best bet. Over 500, run the numbers on an enterprise agreement before you decide. If you're in between, it depends on how stable your headcount is and how much you value having a partner in your corner. The partner reality, requirements, and support. So being a CSP partner sounds great so far, but it's not free. Microsoft has been raising the bar, especially for direct bill partners, and the requirements are real. Let's start with direct bill. If you want to buy directly from Microsoft and manage everything yourself, you need to meet some serious thresholds. $1 million in trailing 12-month revenue, at least 12 months of experience as an indirect reseller first, at least one solutions partner designation, and you have to purchase a paid Microsoft support plan. Advanced support for partners runs about $15,000 a year, and that's the minimum. Now compare that to the indirect reseller path. No revenue minimum, no support plan required. The distributor provides the backstop. You sign up, partner with a distributor, and you're in business. And that's why the vast majority of partners choose this route. Here's something that surprises a lot of people. All CSP partners are required to provide first-line support to their customers. You cannot escalate most issues to Microsoft. If a customer calls with a problem, you own it, you diagnose it, you fix it, or find someone who can. The customer's first call is always to you, not to Microsoft. The support landscape is shifting too. Microsoft's legacy support plans for partners are being retired. Advanced support for partners, or ASFP, ends in January 2027, and Premier support for partners follows shortly after. The replacement is called Unified for Partners, or UFP for short, and it's expected to launch in Microsoft's fiscal year 2027. Here's the opportunity in that change. Partners who earn the support services designation can get up to 50% off on Unified for Partners. That's a significant discount. Microsoft is essentially saying, show us you're serious about support, and we'll make it affordable for you. There are also security requirements. All CSP partners must meet the Partner Center security score, which means multi-factor authentication, secure application model, and basic security hygiene. Microsoft checks this, and if you fall short, you can lose your ability to transact. The message from Microsoft is clear. Being a CSP partner is about delivering value, not just passing through licenses. The days of buying a block of seats and marking them up are fading. If you're not providing real service, you're not really a CSP partner. The big picture, why CSP matters. So let's zoom out for a second. CSP delivers most Microsoft Cloud transactions for small and medium businesses. It's not a discount program, it's a partnership model. Microsoft hands the customer relationship to partners, and that trust is what makes the whole thing work. 3 layers to think about. Microsoft builds the services. Partners wrap those services with support and expertise. Customers get one bill and one point of contact, one person to hold accountable when something breaks. But here's where the real power lives. Connection. The partner who sets up your Microsoft 365 tenant can also deploy Intune to manage devices. They can configure Defender to block threats. They can help your team actually use Teams instead of just installing it and forgetting about it. You end up with a cohesive setup instead of random tools that don't talk to each other. Think of it like an office building. Microsoft built the building, the walls, the wiring, the plumbing. The CSP partner runs the front desk. They handle the maintenance. They manage the IT closet. Everything works together so you can just show up and do your job. For customers, here's the good news. You don't need to be a licensing expert. You don't have to know the difference between E3 and E5 or what software assurance covers or how true-up cycles work. Your partner handles that complexity. You just tell them what you need. For partners, the benefits are real. Recurring revenue that smooths out the business cycle. Deeper relationships that make you essential. Growing demand from businesses who'd rather not manage IT themselves. The bottom line is this. CSP is how most businesses will consume Microsoft Cloud going forward. The old programs are closing. New ones have arrived. And the partner sits right at the center. Here's what I want you to remember. CSP is Microsoft's way of letting partners handle the messy parts. Billing, support, and service. So customers can focus on running their business. If you're buying Microsoft services today, check who your partner of record is. If you don't have one, now you know why that matters. Subscribe for more breakdowns and drop a comment if something clicked.